Energy Corner, and I am here to talk to you today about Neptune in Pisces going retrograde on the same day that we have an exact quincunx between the North Node in Leo and Saturn in Capricorn, which is in retrograde. So think about this. We have Neptune, which I think is an ethereal energy. It's an energy that it's not tangible or intangible. It is an energy that is not of this world. It's fate. It's destiny. It's hope. It's dreams. It's creation. It's not reality. It's what's unrealistic. You right? And then on the same day that energy is going retrograde, Saturn represents to me wisdom, but Neptune in Pisces to me represents the ability to apply wisdom to your life in a way that generates hope, dreams, prosperity, and brings out the best in you, which is your creative flair, your need to express cumulative energy in your life. And the way that Pisces energy expresses their cumulative time in life is usually through some form of creative expression. And there can be a duality, because sometimes when the Pisces is in their worst state, in their weakened state, in their vulnerable state, in their most hopeless state, is when they truly and deeply find the cumulative lesson, the wisdom, the overall purpose of their life. And I think that that is a very significant thing to happen, because as Neptune in Pisces is going into its retrograde cycle, into its weakest state, in reverse, in reflection, in recognition, in reality, and where their states of being unrealistic, unstable, their inability to grasp their current circumstances. Saturn has this really magical quincunx with the North Node, which means that this is a time where you're being pointed north, and the leverage that energy is using, that the universe is using, that spirit is using, is to take you away from something in your past that generated loss, instability, insecurity, pain, suffering, definitely had a karmic undertone, a life lesson to it. It's something that has been going on for a very, very long time. And it has been a lesson that the universe has been adamantly trying to teach you. So I did a reading because as I started touching this energy and letting it into my soul, and I got lost in a couple things. And now understand that anytime you process anything Neptunian, it only makes sense to the person that is experiencing it, because it is their karmic journey, it is their destiny, it is what inspires their hope, what inspires their magical ethereal side of them, their spiritual side, their connection, their cumulative energy. So it's very, very specific energy. That is why it is being combined with your North Node in Leo. So the heart is definitely going to be motivating this energy. And for some people, many people, especially Pisces, for them to seriously and realistically take a look at their situation and accept their situation, the limitations, the restriction, the obstacles, the energetic stumbling blocks that we all experience in life, they've got to be shoved out of a state of fantasy, out of a state of altering their realities, out of a state of denial. And the best way to do that is for a very intense negative energy to push them into seeing something they don't want to see, or something that they don't want to accept as their reality, or something they don't want to accept as their earthbound limitation, because Neptune and Pisces don't live in this world. They live in a magical world that they create that is different from reality often. And so Saturn in Capricorn really is adding a lot of instability in the way that they check out, the way that their inability to cope with their situations. You know, I think people that love them, people that care for them, people that are very heart-based and that have a strong connection to these Piscean people, or the placements, wherever your placement of Pisces is what is happening is they're being brought forth as a karmic relationship, as in a karmic bond with you, to try to bring you up to the next level. And the way that happens is there's a lot of energy that asks you to step back and reflect about your current situation and see it as a cumulative life lesson. See it as what it is, that lesson where we've been on this journey for a while, and it's time to stop denying it. It's time to stop trying to find a way to hold on to something that I think on a very deep level is just energetically dragging you down. And it's causing you to not be walking forward. And you have to see this for what it is, because anytime you get any energy that's in combination with the North Node, it means that your fated path is up for discussion in the universe. And the universe pulls out everything it can to get you to get off the denial. It's like you can't just turn your eyes away from the reality of your current situation. Sometimes it is just understanding that there are earthly limitations that prevent certain creative aspirations and endeavors from manifesting the financial security, the prosperity, and the stability that you deeply desire. So it's a time where you may have to supplement income, or you may have to just dial it back and look at what you're doing wrong and strip this back to the core, and get out of the creative side of it, and start to look at this time as a time where we're trying to generate resources. This is that whole Jupiter and Scorpio retrograde. We're trying to generate some very realistic resources to make your endeavors last a really long time. They're not like a temporary time period of where you get to enjoy a high and then you go into a low, and then you go into a high and then you go into a low in your prosperity. Essentially what I'm talking about is the starving artist side of creativity. You don't want to, I mean, if you're really destined and fated to go on a path that leads you into becoming financially stable off of your creativity, then or off of the world that you're tapping into, this unrealistic vision for the future, then you're gonna have to develop a actual plan, a realistic plan, one that is based on the fact that you actually do live in the physical realm of earth, material, money, capitalism. Like there's a legitimate side of creativity. It's great to have creative aspirations, but how are you going to support yourself getting there? How are you going to make your dreams come true? I mean, the starving artist thing is great. It shows your passion, dedication, and determination to get what you want. But are you lowering the bar? Are you saying, well, in order to have this creative aspiration, I have to not get what I want? I was led this week to, like, for some reason, research out an atom. It's just what came up. It kept coming up in random searches, and I'm like, I don't know what this means, but I'm being energetically told to talk about it. So I decided to research out atoms, and the one thing that I did understand from why I was being energetically guided, sorry, it's super windy here, energetically guided to discuss this with you, is because too much positive energy makes us incomplete. You must have an energetic balance of positive and negative energy in your life. And if you look at it in just its simplistic form, in just its most basic form, an atom. So an atom is an extremely small amount of a thing or a quality, and it is every solid, liquid, gas, or plasma is composed of neutral or ionized atoms. And I'm sorry I'm giving you a little science lesson here, because I think the journey with my particular channel, with the way that I like to to communicate with you guys, is I like to talk about energy. And I think it's really important to understand why we have to have negative energy in our lives, and why in a given day there are squares that impact some people, there are sextiles that impact some people, and this is a very negatively charged, for some it's going to be very negatively charged, because basically you have to release the negative in your life so that the positive and the negative at least is in balance. It's not, one energy doesn't override the other. So releasing negativity, letting go of it, allows for positive energy, and the balance is restored. Your energetic balance is restored. And I just believe in this so much, because it is how I think about life. And I loved that that science can back up, or there's a way that I could communicate about what I feel. And you guys can research this yourself and see if you can connect on the level that I did, about just the fact that just the most basic, an atom needs balance. It needs positive and negative energy to be equal. There can't be so much negativity in your life, because you're not positively ionized, if I can put it that way. I think what is just monumental in life is to understand that, but then to make it a life goal. So if you are energetically feeling negative, or you are attracting a lot of negativity, or there's a lot of negative situations in your life, then you need to see where there is more in the law of attraction, where you are connecting more with the negative side of energy than positivity. So if you're refusing to let go of a life lesson, let's say, you're trying to push it, you're trying to manipulate a situation that your karmic journey has been trying to teach you not to. You have all the tools, you have all the wisdom that you need, right? But you just can't let go of it for some reason, because you are looking at it unrealistic. You are fantasizing about the positivity in it, and you're not looking at it as a totality, the situation as a totality of like, as you guys have, or as this situation has been attracted into your life, has the energetic bond with that situation been more positive than negative? This is very important to understand, because that is the way that I delegate how much time I'm going to start putting into things. As I'm trying to make my life more about balance and less about the resistance of me just accepting that life is a lesson, and that the people that you love, the people that you hold dear, the situations that you invest time and your creativity and your passion and your heart into, energetically can be as simple as a karmic lesson, and there's nothing you can do about that. So I did a reading and I pulled these cards. Initially I had pulled the Magician in reverse and the Fool upright, and then I thought, well, I want to see what's in the middle of energy, because there's a lot of energy I was just in tune with. And of course, like, the first thing that you guys notice is the yellow in these cards. Like, it's such a bright yellow. And when I sat with it, I started getting all of these images of what yellow means to me. And yellow meant to me just a revitalizing energy. The crab in this picture is, of course, a deceased crab. There were live crabs down there, but I didn't want to disturb their existence. I don't want to be something in nature that hinders nature from experiencing its lifetime. And so I was just down by the shore, like walking by the water, and I noticed the end of this beautiful life, and the loss I felt when I was processing this intense time. Now, June 18th is when we will experience that Saturn in Capricorn retrograde quincunx with the North Node. And although this crab's life has ended, its journey's ended, its significant purpose has ended, and it has now transferred into the spirit world. And it is a loss. Like, obviously, it's a loss of its own existence. And it now works in a different realm, and if you believe in reincarnation, is then transferred into something else that it can energetically make a difference in. It depends on how much you believe in light. And yellow to me just represents not pure white. Pure white is just the most purest form of energy that you can ever experience. It's clear. It's the absence of color. And life is colorful. It is abundant. There's so many different ways to look at light and color and understand that how you energetically bond with it. So yellow to me just represents energy in its beginning, and it represents to me what it takes to make everything grow. The warmth, the way that things are formed. It helps. I mean, without the light of the sun, plants could not generate enough energy to grow. And so when I think of yellow, I think of that color. Like, this is making you grow. This is you're releasing what is no longer serving you, what has been an obstacle, what has been an illusion, what has been something that you created that wasn't based on reality. It was based on want and desire and things that are earthbound, but they're not connected to the overall purpose, that purpose that we connect to get us to the next level in life. like the wisdom, the third eye opening. I mean, taking wisdom and understanding it, respecting it, and learning from it, and then not allowing the wisdom to taint your current experience, not allowing you to get caught up in the loss and the pain and the suffering. It's what we use to motivate us, to propel us to go into a different direction, think of things in a new way. When I think of death, a lot of people wake up when they experience a death of somebody significant. They start to really cherish life, or they have a near-death experience. They just start to really cherish their life and what they can do with life. When you face in your life an opportunity where that could have been taken away from you, or somebody significant was taken away from you, or where you experienced just some very long-term suffering, and then you're released from it, it is opportunistic. It can transform your situation. It can bring you into a different level in life. You then understand the potential of life. You're thankful for life. You live in a state of gratitude for every single day. And I feel like right now is that time where it has been significant, it has been hard, we suffered a really long time through a big transition, and now we're ready to feel that feeling that you get when you get to release it and let it go, and understand that you're going somewhere different and better and more magical, where you can start to create a new outcome. There's lots of times in life where creating a new outcome comes with its own challenges. The one thing that I noticed also when I drew this deck, other than the color yellow, and it's just the warmth that I felt from it, the security that I can trust that we can make things regrow with just enough positive energy and just enough light, and I feel like we're getting that right now, is the fact, if you look at, there's the Fool upright, but then there's the Magician in reverse, and I really thought a lot about that. I thought about the fact that if you're trying to push and become the Magician, and if you're trying to start over and you're trying to direct your purpose, right? If you're just really caught up in that energetic connection to, like, I will make things go a certain way, or I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to take these little resources and I'm going to generate something big from it, right? What I get scared of when I see the Magician in reverse is I feel like there's a naivety in him. He's not looking at this from its entirety. It's like he's really caught up in the material realm, really caught up in making something happen because he wants a specific result from it. But he's not actually connected to, like, the life purpose, the purity of the creation, like the Fool is. The Fool, to me, is, in order to really connect to something, in order to really follow your destined path and to figure out what your purpose was here on this earth, you have to be foolhardy. You have to go into it with no expectation, no desire. You're not trying to manipulate anything. You're just trying to create and generate your circumstances in their most highest form, which means that it's coming from the heart, it's coming from your soul, it's coming from what you're energetically drawn to do. It's not about material wealth. Although, understand, if you're most often when you're doing what you should be doing, and when you're letting go of things at the right time, and you're kind of have that foolhardy approach of just trusting the universe, trusting that it's abundant, trusting that it will bring you resources, but you're active. I mean, the Fool, he's active. He's packed everything up, and he's going out there with the belief system that he's going to make it happen, right? He's got this optimistic outlook. And that's what you need in energy like this. I thought I'd give you guys something better to look at than just that. This is just so beautiful. Such a pretty day out here. When I thought about the Magician versus the Fool, I really believe how the duality of this Piscean experience, this retrograde, is, to me, is which energy are you connecting with? You're forcing something that you're supposed to let go. You're manipulating energy. You're manipulating a situation because you think it will generate something that you are idealizing. And you're not looking at the totality of the experience. And you've been through this lesson before, so you know a lot about the pitfalls and the advantages of it. But are some of you refusing to attach to your higher purpose, attach to your destined role in life, your path, the part of your soul that isn't something that this world can completely and utterly understand? Sorry, it's got windy all of a sudden. Or are you the Fool? Look at that guy. Look at him. I hope you can see it. Gorgeous. Ooh, beautiful. Or are you the magician, or are you the Fool? Where you're just working off a blind faith. You're working on that life has so much in store for you, that you haven't become bitter or tainted by this earthly experience because you've connected to the spiritual realm, your purpose in life. In the middle, so I drew that middle card, and the reason I drew it is because, you know, it's the Four of Swords, and it is what's elusive to me when I saw this energy was the fact that I felt like what was elusive was peace. And when you're dealing with loss, when you're dealing with something that is when you're releasing something that you want on a tangible level, it can be very difficult to see that as what should have always happened, what was destined to be released at some point. You were in a karmic lesson. You were not in a twin flame relationship, or you weren't in the relationship with the universe. You hadn't matured enough in your a journey on this earth to understand the entire purpose just yet. And some of us have to repeat this lesson all their lives. Some of us they learn it rather quickly if they're wise souls, old souls. But if you're a youthful young soul and you were born with low degrees, wherever you were born in low degrees is where you're going to experience the most trials and tribulations, and where Saturn is going to dig, and where you're going to grow in your sense of self. And I want you guys to study something if you're just into being a nerd. What was also shown to me was something called retroactive interference. And it is the tendency of later learning to hinder the memory of a previously learned material. So if you just recently learned something that has shattered your hope, shattered your dream, shattered your faith in that you're fated to be happy, that can hinder all of the years of experience that life was plentiful, bountiful. It was It was an experience where it brought lots of magic and love and happiness. I mean, if you look at your life on a cumulative level, and I'm hoping that you haven't had a life of extreme war and suffering and pain, like in some countries. But even if you have, like, what did you pull out of that? Like, what was your experience with that? Do you have an understanding of you're not connected to the physical body or to the physical realm because you've experienced so much loss, that the way that you walk through life is connected to the spiritual realm, because the physical realm is fleeting. It comes and it goes. It's a minute part of the experience, the human experience. And I've thought a lot about this, and this is probably going to be a long video. I have no idea how long these are because they're intermittent. I have to stop because a train goes by, or I have to stop because people walk by, or I have to stop because it gets windy. And I also believe that that's a sign too of just how distracting this time is from your overall purpose. So there are things where you're just logistically trying to figure things out, and although there's a bigger purpose, there's something that's faded. There's something that's very karmic about this time. There's a lot going on in the heart-based sector. Now, remind you, we're getting geared up for the eclipses in Leo and, well, Aquarius and Leo. And we're getting ready to kind of tie up what happened last summer. And, but that's really heart-based energy. When it's combined with, like, when you think about the opposition of the sun and the moon, that is, something is challenging both your sun and your moon. There's something that you don't see, something that is clouding your judgment, or that you can't see the situation for what it truly and deeply is. And so if that's your situation, and you didn't take the opportunity of having such a massive eclipse do the work for you, and you didn't resist its energetic lesson, then you're going to have a bumpy couple months coming up. And so getting really in tune with water energy and the way that you feel and the ebb and flow of your emotions, and really understanding your intuition and the power of your intuition and the ability for you're connected to different energy on an intuitive level than you are just interpreting the world around you, like on a Gemini level. A Gemini level, you're just observing everything, and your little computered mind is just calculating all the data, and it is coming up with assumptions and conclusions, and it's making decisions based on this really superficial, fleeting energy. As soon as you start connecting to Cancer energy, you start to connect to all of that energy, but on a sorry, the wind got really bad. You're starting to connect to it on an intuitive level. How does it make you feel? Where is it not safe? What is not stable about it? What makes you feel vulnerable about this energy that you're attracting into your life? And then it filters through that. And then by the time it gets to Leo energy and it sinks into your heart, into your center, and it's what you start to center your life around, you want it to go through all of those levels. You want it to go through the level of self, where you are assessing the situation and what it makes you feel like, and then you're attaching to the potential of of what it is attracting, both on a tangible and an untangible level, and then you're logically taking a look at it, and then you're filtering it through intuition and into your heart. So you're filtering it in through your moon, and then you're filtering it in through your heart, right? And so that's really important for you guys to understand, I think, because our existence on this earth is so important. You are so important. What you're going through is so important, because you just have no idea how massive your energy is for the people you touch, the things you do, that can alter everything for people. You don't even know it. I remember some of my darkest days, somebody just smiling at me, somebody letting me in, somebody opening a door, or somebody giving me a compliment, and they didn't want anything. They were just being a beautiful, pure soul. It's like it just kept giving me the level of hope even when my state was hopeless. So anyhow, guys, I think I'm done with this video for now. It's a lot to talk about, but I hope I gave you some food for thought, because there's a couple things in there if you just want to research it out and see how it applies to you. But for the most part, I want you guys to understand, like the Four of Swords in reverse. It's a journey, and there's something you don't see. There's something that you haven't figured out. There's some, whoops, sorry about that. There's some karmic reason, some fated reason that you are going through what you're going through, and it's bigger than you probably understand. And when you are getting all this energy trying to point you into a direction, if you're fighting, if you're resisting it, that resistance is futile. It is futile in energy like this, because then you're going to go up to eclipse season, and that's when it's going to get real. That's when it's going to get, that's when you're going to become very clear, hopefully, if you are not in complete and utter denial, if you are not masking it in alcohol and drugs, and if you're not trying to avoid this lesson. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much, and I hope you have a lovely day.